you're well rested. We appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, Dan. I am rallied to be with you here, and I'm honored to be with you.
All right, how would you answer the poll question? I give you Fournette or the field for the Heisman right now?
Right now, I'll take Fournette. It's kind of crazy when you think how many other good players are out there, but I think he's head and shoulders above everyone, I think, in performance at this point. And if he can continue racking up numbers like that in SEC play, some big opponents coming up, he's going to be tough to beat.
What game are you going to this weekend?
I'll be between the hedges.
Nice.
See if it's an elimination game for Alabama and kind of a statement game for Georgia.
If Alabama loses, finish that sentence.
Then I think they're out of the playoffs, and the world basically comes to an end in the state. Between them and Auburn, both, it'll be full-on crisis. They'd have a Nick Saban team with 2 losses in early October. That would not go over well.
Michigan's win, I watched it, and I was impressed by Michigan against BYU. I don't know how good Michigan is, and probably won't know until they face Northwestern and or Michigan State. What did you think?
Yeah, I covered their game against Utah. I was at their game against Oregon State as well, and after the Utah game, I was like, got a long way to go. In the first possession, Oregon State drives 80 yards and scores. And I'm thinking, wow, they've got a long way to go. And since then, they've given up 7 points in the last 178 minutes of game time. They are playing like a Harbaugh team. They're physical. They're really good on defense. They have a running back that will just run you over. So they look like one of his teams. They're still not very talented, but they're playing the way he wants them to play. And in the Big Ten, that's going to win them some games.
How glad are you that you didn't go to the UCLA game against Arizona?
Despite your attempts to shame me, I was very pleased, especially when it was 42-14 at halftime. Sitting there saying, I know Dan Patrick's disappointed in me. I know I've let him down. There will be no Tucson Dateline, but sitting there on my couch, I was really glad I didn't drive or fly all that way for that mess.
Give me the game you wish you went to.
TCU and Texas Tech.
How great was that?
That was crazy. And I thought Texas Tech could win. I really did, just because the injuries to the TCU defense. But, my gosh, that was crazy. And to pull it out like that, they got very, very lucky. TCU did, but sometimes you need one incredibly lucky break to get through. And their schedule's very backloaded. It's going to be really hard in November, and maybe by then the new guys that they've got playing on defense will be sharpened up enough that they can stop some people.
Was that Utah win more about Utah or about Oregon?
I think probably some of both. It was Oregon's worst home loss since 1977, and the Utes are no slouch at all. Really good on the front seven on defense. Quarterback's playing well, great running back. But, man, Oregon's not good. Their defense is awful. Awful defense. And I kind of thought that watching them a little bit earlier and seeing them against Michigan State. And, Mark Helfrich, he's done a very good job, but he did it with Chip Kelly's system and the best quarterback they've had since Dan Fouts at least. And now it's kind of turned the page time. What do you got? So far, the answers aren't very good.
Yeah, and I get the feeling, and maybe it's not fair to Vernon Adams because he hasn't been on campus and with that team that long, but it feels like there are a lot of times when he tries to make a play and realizes he made those same plays at Eastern Washington, but you can't make them when you're playing Division I football.
Oh, yeah, I think that's very much the case. And he gets back there, and quite honestly, he's not a very good scrambler. At least maybe that's it. Maybe you're scrambling against guys that are bigger and more athletic. I don't think he sees very well and sees the field, so once he goes into scramble mode, he doesn't create space for himself. He doesn't create opportunities, and he's also suffering by comparison to following Mariota, who was just, an unbelievable athlete and moved so fluidly on the run and could just make great plays that way. But he's definitely showing signs that the jump up's been hard for him.
Anybody else stand out this weekend we should keep an eye on?
I think California. I kind of like Cal as another sleeper team out west. They win at Washington. They won at Texas. They were an absolute dumpster fire when Sonny Dykes got there, and they're 4-0 now. Got a really good quarterback, an NFL prospect for sure at quarterback, and Jared Goff. And the defense was so bad, and it's gotten good enough so that they can win games now, win on the road. And believe it or not, a a really interesting Pac-12 game, October 10th, Utah at Cal.
USC's win was kind of sneaky quiet.
Yeah, I mean, that was good, too. It was weird, actually. We've had 6 Pac-12 games so far. The road team has won all of them, and only one of them's even been close. So, I don't know what the heck's going on out there. But, yeah, USC, I mean, when everything's going their way, they can step on the gas and really hit you. It was the Stanford game where they didn't handle the adversity of that very well. They got a lot of big games left. Obviously, the Notre Dame game stands out October 17th, and then UCLA down the road. But there are plenty of other challenges too. They got Utah. So Cody Kessler's really good. They're fun to watch, but I'm not sold on them as a title contender.
We'll look for your column Saturday or Sunday, because we know it's going to be probably an award winner because you had a week off to stay at home, collect your thoughts. Get your thesaurus out, ready to go as you go between the hedges with Georgia and Alabama. This should be one of the great columns of all time. It might make Mike Lupica weep. That's how good this is going to be.
I'm sending it straight to the Pulitzer Committee when I send it in. So
I like that.
They'll be ready for it.
All right. Thank you, Pat. That's Pat Forde from Yahoo Sports. Covers college football.